What's going on, YouTube? Back with part 2. We're going to start off like this. The Novarossi collection. This engine is actually a Novarossi Keep Off 4, but it has the Keep Off 7 head. DLC coated crank, which wasn't available on the original Keep Off line. You see, it doesn't have no serial number. 4-port. Obviously, you can't see in there, but just showing that it is a 4-port. Got this from Giovanni at Gmar Racing. He didn't get over or nothing. It was just one of those engines that he bought a bunch of parts and everything as they were shutting down. Obviously, you know, he does on-road, you know, racing and everything, 5th scale racing and stuff like that. But he's an engine builder. So he was already, for lack of better words, in bed with Novarossi prior to them shutting down, you know, and building engines and stuff using Novarossi parts and everything. But these are the parts, from my understanding, that, you know, towards the end of them knowing that they was going to shut down, when they was just basically, let's just say, fire selling parts and everything, you know, ones that didn't make it through quality control, stuff like that, ones that was sort of unfinished, things of that nature. Don't quote me on that, but that's my understanding. So that brings us to this, you know, like I said, has a DLC coated crank, has a ceramic rear bearing, steel front bearing, 2-needle carb, Keep Off 7 head. It does have an O-ring head button. Like I said, 4-port long stroke. So that's the first one. Novarossi Keep Off 4 with a Keep Off 7 head. All right. Next in the lineup, Novarossi Mephisto. Once again, from Gmar Racing. You'll notice it doesn't have a DLC coated crank like the previous model, which I found funny and everything, that the previous one that I showed, the Keep Off 4 with the Keep Off 7 head, had a DLC coated crank when they originally did not come with a DLC coated crank. And this Mephisto originally came with a DLC coated crank, but here you see it does not have a DLC coated crank. Once again, no serial number, you know, on the block, but it is 3-needle carb, so they're all original. Both engines are all original Novarossi parts. You can see how this one was, these two right here on the case was milled down, you know, when it really wasn't supposed to be milled down. So I think these are like all reject parts originally, and you know, he was able to basically buy them up and everything and then piece engines together and stuff. So one thing I will say, you know, because I don't want to throw no dirt on that man's name and everything, his brand and stuff, good brand, you know, they got other good engines and everything. He in business with OS now, with the UFO line and stuff, you know, B2104 based engines and stuff, and B2105 based engines and stuff. But he also used to deal with Novarossi, and it's just that, like I said, these are all basically Novarossi shut down, and he was able to get a lot of parts, and you know, just I guess to keep the name sort of alive, I guess you would say, because it was still a big, you know, hole in the market, you know, for people wanting Novarossi products and everything when they first shut down. There was rumors of being shut down. So he filled that hole best he could. So, you know, props to him. It is a 14 millimeter crank. It is a ceramic rear bearing, steel front bearing. Like I said, 3 needle carb. O-ring cooling head. I don't know if you can see if I can get you in there. I don't think I can get you in there, but it's an O-ring cooling head. You know, it's the proper head and everything. So, that's the Novarossi Mephisto. Right. Then let's get back into some official stuff. Novarossi Meo 4. Offset carb position. As you see, it's shifted to the right of the crankshaft. It doesn't sit in line with the crankshaft. 3 needle carburetor. You can see the patent pendant on the crankcase right here. 3 needle carb. Ceramic rear bearing. I think I said that. If I didn't, I did. And extra long stroke. 4-port. Right. So that's the Meo 4. Next up is the Mantra 4-port square bore. I forgot to tell you the Meo 4 is extra long stroke. The Mephisto that I showed was supposed to be a square bore also, but it actually was a 4-port extra long stroke, or no, 4-port long stroke. That was another difference that he told me, that the crankshaft and everything was the long stroke. But this is a square stroke, 16.4 by 16.4, 2 needle carburetor, ceramic rear bearing. What else is in this engine? Ain't too much to say. I can't even think of too much to say. But it's a good engine. So it's the Mantra 4-port. Right. Next up on the list, Ultimate Engines M4R 4-port engine, long stroke, 2 needle carb. I think it's a 13 millimeter crankshaft. You can see, you can peek O-ring head button. You see the little orange piece shining for the O-ring. Another great engine, smooth engine. I know a lot of people equate smooth with not having a lot of power, or smooth means it doesn't have no power. I equate it with, like, smooth can have power, but it doesn't have explosive power, where there's no one point in the RPM range where all of a sudden it shoots up in power. It's more of like a linear, you know, thing. So that's the Ultimate Engines M4R official. All right. So that was the Novarossi 4-port lineup. We're going to start this 5-port lineup off with the Protek Euro LS5, rebadged P5, 3 needle carburetor, Steel bearings, front and rear. Protek Euro LS5 head, or printing on the P5 head. Yeah, she good. She good. Yeah. Good powerful engine. O-ring head button. Good powerful engine. Nice budget engine. Not too much to say about that P5 lineup. Regardless of what variation you get, you know, you was bound to get a good engine. Powerful, predictable. You know, may not be the most efficient, but got the job done. So, Protek Euro LS5 started a 5-port engines. Next up is the Gmar Blue Demon All 5T, P5 based, special coating on the head for cooling purposes, 3-needle carburetor. Excuse me. Man, gotta get that out. It's got a DLC coated crankshaft, ceramic rear and front bearing. The case, as you see, is black on the outside, but it's also got a thermal heat treatment on the inside of the case. So it's been, you know, milled and all of that stuff, you know, on the inside, and then given a thermal black heat treatment on the inside of the case. So when you pull the sleeve out, instead of seeing, you know, bare aluminum and everything like most engines, it's all black on the inside also. And also super low CG head, O-ring button head. Just another variation of a P5. You know, great engine. All right. Then we back to the OG Novarossi P5 XL, 2-needle carb. Shout out to my boy Romel. You know, hooked me up with this a while ago. O-ring button head. You know, the P5 came in XL, XLT, regular P5, P5 XS. P5 has many variations, and all of them seem to run good. All of them was priced good. Just wish, you know, we could get more of them. That's Novarossi P5. Right. Next up, we have Novarossi Top Elite 5. Another P5 base, or P5 variant. This was probably one of the cheaper ones that came out on the market. O-ring cooling head, O-ring button head. That had I think a dome piston, or like a team edition piston or something in here. Something that was a little bit different than some of the other P5s. Yeah, this good engine. Good engine, served the purpose really good. Powerful. You know, all the P5 variations are all long strokes, 5-port. So, Novarossi P5. I'm sorry, Top Elite 5. All right, I'm bringing up the last of the 5 ports. Is the Novarossi Bonito R2. 2-needle carburetor. steel bearings front and rear. 5+2 port sleeve. So 5-port sleeve with 2 bypass ports. Also with the tri-port exhaust. See if I can get you in there a little bit. I ain't got enough light. Tri-port exhaust. And as you see how you can see the bare aluminum and exhaust port, that's what I was talking about in that Blue Demon. All of that is blacked out. So where you can see that bare aluminum right there, all of that's blacked out, and the whole inside of the engine is blacked out on the Blue Demon. But this is another, basically like I don't even know where to even put this in the Novarossi lineup. Is it P5 based? Well, I don't know what this one really is based off of, to be honest with you. But I would think it's a P5 base block and everything. But you know, Novarossi can mix and match. They have so many engines that you can mix and match a whole lot of parts with them. But a good engine nonetheless. All right, next up, let's start off our 7-port lineup. Gmar Racing Blade 7 off. So once again, blacked out treatment on the inside. As you can see, like I was showing you in the previous engine, it was bare aluminum up through there. This in the Blue Demon is blacked out all the way through the inside of the case. O-ring button head, ceramic rear bearing, 3-needle carb, and I think this carb is either Pico, BP, I can't remember exactly. I think it's like a Pico carb, or a brand called BP something. But it's not a Novarossi carb, that's for sure. But it's a 3-needle carb. Engine runs good. It's fast. This is a fast engine. Explosive mid-range, a lot of bottom end, but explosive mid-range and a lot of top end. As you see, like, you know, it's not scratched up, but you don't see none of the graphics on it here. They're all peeled off. That's the one thing that I did not like about this engine. Once this engine is warm, or when you're preheating it and you get it to like about 180 degrees and above, like the silk screen printing, whatever they use to print on here instead of laser engraving or whatever they use, like it just starts bubbling and then peeling and stuff like that. So I just basically tried to, you know, get it hot and peel as much of it off as I could and just run it with like just the blue cooling head, you know, the blue anodizing, which I do like on this engine. It's a nice color blue anodizing. But good engine, good engine. So this is the start of the 7 ports. And next we have the Novarossi Purple Head Paloma 7-port long stroke engine. And they have there ain't too much to be said about this. They have their own legend, you know, their own story in the whole Novarossi lineup. You know, the Palomas was great engines, didn't cost a lot. This one has, you know, the tri-port exhaust, screams on the top end, good mid-range, good bottom end. I know it was the purple one, there was a blue one, and then there was a gold one. Different head colors. And they all sort of had like, I guess, different, it was made or timed differently for different purposes. So whether it be for buggy or trucky or just all out power, you know, I can't remember which one was for what and everything, stuff like that. You have to do your research on that one. But all of them was fast, I can say that much. This has the 2-needle carburetor. O-ring button head. Good engine. Now we're getting into probably my favorite engine of the Novarossi lineup, you know, that I have in my collection. And I know there's some that I don't have in my collection, like Bonitos, the Bonito, like I think it's XLB or something like that, or then the B4 BCCA World Championship Edition. I don't have those two, but this is my favorite out of all of the Novarossi engines that I have or have had. 7-port offset carb, ceramic rear bearing. It's not DLC coded. Yeah, this engine is official. This is official engine. This is a fast engine. That's all I can say about this. This is a fast engine. And I don't care if you put it in a buggy, truggy. This is a fast engine. Anybody who's owned one or seen one, I think they'd agree that like this is probably one of Novarossi's fastest engines that they've produced. And once again, it wasn't uber expensive or anything like that. They have engines that was way more expensive than this. But like I said, this was one of their fastest engines that I've seen. All right. And here we go with the Novarossi Roma 0.25 truggy engine. 7-port long stroke. 2-needle carb. Steel bearings front and rear. O-ring button head. Powerful engine. You know, you put this in anything, it's going to fly. Good engine. All right. All right. Here we go to Novarossi Rex 28.8 Legend. 3-needle carburetor. Mine has the steel bearings front and rear. O-ring button head. There's not too much to be said about this. Everybody knows about, the Rex Legends, the 8-port 28.8. Everybody knows about them. Novarossi Rex 28.8. I had my hands all over this joint. Y'all probably couldn't even see it. All right, 28.8. Next up, for the shits and giggles of it, Nova engines. And I just put this in the Novarossi collection because it's like it's a different brand. It's not to be confused with the old Novarossi, but being as though there's a lot of let's just say staff that worked at Novarossi prior to the shutdown was left, scratching their heads, I guess, and they got together, created Nova Engines, so it's the same people that was building and or designing Novarossi engines, started their own brand, so it has a lot of Novarossi traits, I would say, or DNA, as far as maybe build, knowledge of materials to use, and, forward thinking. This has the 3-needle carb, Allen head for the needles. Also with like a little tick right here, on each of the needles, except for the idle stop screw. Each of the needles have a little tick, just to help you eyeball it when you making your tuning adjustments. O-ring button head. Super low profile type of cooling head. I wish they could have milled the case down and brought the whole cooling head down, for saying how low, the profile of it is. Mine has ceramic rear bearing, steel front, DLC coated crankshaft. This is the .24. So this runs, balls to the walls too. I don't think it's quite as powerful as the Roma .25. This is a 6-port. The Roma 25 is a 7-port. That doesn't make a big difference or anything. I just don't think this one is timed as aggressive as the Roma, or there's something in it where I don't think it's just as powerful as the Roma. It's definitely not as powerful as the 28.8. But that being said, this engine right here is not lacking power at all. Not in the slightest. It can toss a truggy around. It can be ballistic in a buggy. But yeah, it is what it is. So that's the Nova Engines T6R. And here we have the Intech M3+2 version 2. So this is a Nova B3R rebadged, made in Italy. That should tell you enough about that. You see the cooling head, similar to the T6R, block similar. Carburetor, just a rebadge. Nova Engines B3R. DLC coated crankshaft, ceramic rear bearing. You can see the back plate is basically the same as Intech, engraved Intech right here. You can see the carb has a little Allen head with the notch, 3-needle. Do like the graphics and the color scheme with the black and gold. Good engine. Good engine. Nice performing engine. Right. And last but not least, my little .12 Nova Mega SX12. This is a 5-port, and in .12 standards, this would be a long stroke 5-port. Michael Salvin modified. So this engine basically was modified from the factory to Michael Salvin's specifications and everything. When it came out, it was basically an outlaw engine. You had to run it in like an outlaw class. Because at the time, basically FMAR, Roar, all of them, like the .12s for the 200mm touring class, couldn't be no more than 3 ports. This was a 5-port. It's got a 3-needle carb. Removable Venturis. So, yeah, this had like all of the bells and whistles and stuff. And this was a fast little rocket ship. You know, it's got the 2652. I was ready to say 96 something. It's 2652 pipe with a 41616 header. It's crazy. They used to do plastic back plates back then. Yeah. You know, it's an older engine when you see the screw in the nut for the pinch bolt. This was a fast engine. This could easily get you know, like a race 200mm touring car. Easily can get it up to about 60 miles an hour, if not more. Easily. You see it has the Syntex clutch on it. So, but that's the Novarossi lineup with some Nova engines sprinkled in. Hope y'all enjoyed. That's the end of part 2. There'll be a part 3, and we'll wrap things up. All right. I'll let y'all later.